best Thanksgiving dish. What is it?
Don't do that to
Actually,
me.
okay, well, how about this? What if we
Ranked them?
Like
Okay,
we took
which ones?
top 5. Okay?
Which 5?
Okay, so turkey, stuffing. And by the way, for those who say that it's dressing
It's
and not
stuffing.
stuffing,
It's stuffing.
go back up to the north.
It's stuffing.
It's stuffing.
Turkey, stuffing, rolls.
Rolls.
We're doing 6 if we're doing rolls. I'm not doing this without rolls, so if you need to make room for them,
Okay, fine, 6.
we're doing 6.
So turkey, stuffing, rolls, apparently. Mashed potatoes. Nice.
Mhm.
Mac and cheese. And here's the thing: when it comes to some of these, there's a certain way to make them, and
Correct.
we'll get there.
Correct.
Green beans.
Green bean casserole.
Are we doing green beans or green bean casserole? Because those are two. Those would rank differently on my list.
I feel like casserole because Thanksgiving is like the only time I remember eating green bean casserole. Like that's a Thanksgiving.
Have you never
dish.
been to a potluck?
Well, I have, but like it's not like Thanksgiving green bean casserole is just different.
I'll agree to that. Okay.
Okay, so those are the 6.
All right. So okay. Do we want to go 1 to 6 or 6 to 1?
6 to 1.
Okay. Excuse me. 6 to 1. 6. Oh.
This is immediately hard because all of these are essentials.
What if we threw 7 in there and then 7 automatically cranberry sauce?
Terrible.
I love how we both
Terrible.
agreed with that. Oh.
That is Thanksgiving is genuinely the only time that should even be seen.
No, even then it shouldn't. It's just on the table, and then that one person asks, "Hey, can I have the cranberry sauce?" And then I'm
You can
immediately
take the plate.
I'm immediately looking at them. And we're like, "How are we related?
Uh-huh.
I don't get it." You married into the family, didn't you? I'm joking. So. All right,
this is still immediately hard.
So number 7 is cranberry sauce. Number 6, here's the thing. And are we taking the best version of each dish?
Yes. Because if we weren't, I feel like turkey is the number 6. That might be a hot take, but like some of the dry, like when you get towards the end and it's just.
But here's the thing: if we're talking about
left,
the best version of it, oh gosh. All right, 6. I'm going to go green bean casserole. Because there's only so much you can put in it.
That's true.
5, I think I'm going rolls.
Whoa.
Because again, there's only so much you can do with it. And honestly, I'm the kind of person, I'm not eating the roll, like this might be weird. I'm not even eating the roll during the meal. I'm eating it after. Yeah. And I'm just going to like sit there and kind of enjoy it. But I'm talking if we're doing
you eat the roll on its own.
You do. But
regardless.
Yeah. 4, I'm going mac and cheese.
Yeah. I can see mac and cheese. Let
me ask you this: do I have a little bit of Texas Pete on the side of my plate?
Naturally. It's
all right.
Thanksgiving.
Well, let's just say that I don't.
Okay.
All right. Let's say we're not adding things to it. I'm keeping mac and cheese at 4.
Either way, I can see mac and cheese in the middle of the pack.
3, I'm going stuffing.
Okay.
2, mashed potatoes. 1, turkey.
Turkey number 1.
Because here's the thing: if we're going best version of it,
okay,
absolutely.
Okay, I can see that.
If we're going just average Joe Thanksgiving,
turkey's probably middle of the pack.
Turkey's like 6. Turkey's 5 or 6.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Let me think. Cranberry sauce number 7. Duh. I'm really tempted to put turkey 6.
Just anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's between turkey and I think I'll go green bean casserole 6, but then turkey 5.
Okay.
Mac and cheese 4.
Okay.
Now I've got stuffing, rolls, and what else?
Mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes 3.
Stuffing and rolls.
Rolls 2, stuffing 1.
Stuffing.
I'm a big stuffing fan.
Question. Is there celery in your stuffing?
Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you?
Is that a problem?
Yeah. Here's
Some
the thing.
of us try to eat healthy.
I hate... Yeah, let's put it in our stuffing. That's the way to do it.
Good point.
I don't like celery. It's the aroma. A lot of people, if they don't like celery, it's because of the texture. That. It's like, oh, it's stringy. No, it's the aroma of it. It just kind of makes my nose burn a little. I don't know. Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, man.
Happy Thanksgiving, KT.
It's
Monday, so it's not Thanksgiving yet, but
it's the
we're
week.
Close.
The week of
you might be
Thanksgiving.
listening to this on Thanksgiving, and if you are, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
everyone.
if so, happy Thanksgiving. We want to welcome you to this episode of the Valley Bible Studies podcast, looking at 2nd and 3rd John.
This is not going to take long.
The intro might have been longer than.
Honestly, it's going to be close. There's nothing wrong with 2nd and 3rd John. There's just not much there.
And here's the thing.
There's not much there to the point that we combined these.
Right. What in 2nd and 3rd John is being said that hasn't already been said?
There are a couple snippets, but other than that, not much. And honestly, the snippets I'm thinking of are all in 3rd John. 2nd John, if you're getting down to it, it's kind of a speed run of 1st John. He talks about some of the same stuff, like walk in truth, walk in love. This is the commandment you had from the beginning, that phrase that you see over and over in 1st John. He says that again in 2nd John a couple times. That's about it. And I'd
ask you to do an outline.
The outline would be longer.
But honestly, if you did the outline, I think we'd be done.
Well, the reason that we combine 2nd and 3rd John in the written studies too, and I think the written study is about as long as both of them combined, actually.
Right.
So
yeah.
There's just not much here.
So, with that being said, let's just go ahead and get into it. 2nd John being a letter to a church.
Probably.
That's kind of the assumption.
Yeah.
Because it's talking about to the, we are the bride of Christ.
Right. So the elect lady is, a lot of scholars say, that probably refers to a church and the children to its members. It could be just a lady.
It could actually be a woman.
That John doesn't name, but a lot of scholars think it's probably a congregation and then the children are its members.
Right. Because some of the children are doing the right things, some of them aren't.
Right.
And to take a look at that is, kind of paramount.
Right.
As a church, right? Because as a church, you want to make sure if there's somebody falling away, if there's someone that you haven't seen in a good bit, if there's somebody that is doing something that they shouldn't, as a congregation, you should love that member, that child,
like a family,
as a family member.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm, I'm definitely going to put my family above
everything else.
Yeah. Except the good
God
Lord.
And then family.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very straightforward.
Yeah. But again, verse 5, not as though I were writing a new commandment, but the one we have from the beginning, that we love one another. You could almost just say 2nd John verse 5 is the summary verse of 1st John, because that's all of what 1st John is.
Hey, we have something new. Here it is.
Right. But at the same time, the thing that's new is the commandment that you've had this whole time. It's new, but this is just what Jesus has been talking about.
Right. And something I do appreciate it in verse 7, that's kind of one of those things I was talking about where what's said in these Johns that hasn't already been said already. Look out for those that are saying things that aren't true. Mm-hmm. They're going to act like it is. They're going to do everything they can to make sure that you believe them and not what the Bible says.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do everything they can to deceive you. And here's the thing. It's not necessarily that they're trying to deceive you, but what's already happened is that they've deceived themselves.
Right. Such as a deceiver and an antichrist.
Correct.
Which he explains, this is the explanation of what the antichrist is. It's not a specific person, it's a type of person.
Right, and it's the kind of person that just flat out does not have God.
Specifically here in verse 7, those who do not confess the coming of Jesus Christ.
Right. Because they are a deceiver and an antichrist.
Right. To me, the most, I guess theologically significant verse in 2nd John is 2nd John 9, which says, everyone who goes ahead and does not abide in the teaching of Christ does not have God, but whoever abides in the teaching has both the Father and the Son.
Yeah.
That seems significant to me because he puts the Father and Son together like that. So back when Jesus prays for unity in John 17, he says that they may be one just as you and I, Father, are one. Mm-hmm. So he sort of repeats this idea, and he says there's unity in the teaching of Christ, and that unity both reflects the unity between God the Father and God the Son, and also you're sort of, both of them are present with you in a sense when you abide in Jesus' teaching.
Right, because it's through Jesus' blood that you have contact with the Father.
Right.
Another thing I appreciate about 2nd John is how he writes, or how he concludes the letter.
Mm-hmm.
because he says, I wish I didn't have to write to you. I wish I could be there face to face. I wish we could be talking about this. But yeah, because if it was face to face, it says our joy may be full.
Hey, remember COVID? COVID was terrible.
Yeah.
COVID was terrible because of what John just said in verse 12.
Yeah.
I wish that I could be with you. Being with the church is when
That's when you have joy
of the church is felt to the fullest.
Yeah. That was the furthest I had felt from the church in a long time.
Yeah.
Because couldn't,
like, literally,
you physically couldn't be with them.
Right.
It made me grow an appreciation and also a certain hatred towards Zoom.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know, I appreciated the fact that we had something like a tool like that to use.
But pretty soon you're already tired of it.
I was sick of it.
Mm-hmm.
It did not take long at all, especially when it would buffer.
Oh,
you know?
Man.
Somebody saying something relatively important or they're asking you a question. That probably was the funniest thing. Somebody asking a question to somebody else. And they're like, well, hey, so do you...
the project?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're like, what?
I heard about 2 words of that.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, just that point of
having that connection, that physical connection, being with somebody.
Mm-hmm. Especially the church.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you right now, you and I could not do this podcast if we were in 2 different locations.
No. There are people who can. I've seen podcasts done like that.
It's weird.
More power to you.
Well, and honestly, you can see the difference between when those people are together and when they're not.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a connection.
That's true.
All right, well,
that's second John.
That's second John. Moving on to third.
Moving to third. There's a little more here in third.
Yeah,
that's
there's
like
more
said here that's not said other places.
Right.
So again, he writes to a specific person. This time it's a guy named Gaius. That sounded redundant. Anyway, Gaius, who apparently is just a friend of John's that he wants to write this little snippet of a letter to. I got to shout out my mom on 3 John 4 because what 3 John 4 says is, I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in truth. That's the verse that my mom always signs her notes and stuff with, specifically to me or my siblings, but she's done it to other people too. But
that's sweet.
Yeah, that's just, like, that verse is special to me because of my mom. And there is something to be said about, like...
Shout out Amber.
Shout out Amber. That was weird. You're going to listen to this and just heard me call you Amber. Sorry.
You could have said Mom, you weirdo.
Well, occasionally I call her Amber when she's not present, but it's weird to do it when she can hear it. Sorry, Mom. Love you, Mom. Anyway, like, that verse is special to me because of her, and it's special because, like that's a very touching verse in my role as a youth minister. Because I can say that. Like,
I can also tell you that there's not a more touching verse for your mom too. Because the fact that she raised you and that, you and your siblings are a part of a part of Christ.
Right.
Like,
and even just as a youth minister, like, these kids aren't mine, but I'm sort of a role model mentor to them in some capacity, and just to see them do well. Like, there's a specific example. Some of them have just recently started, and they came up with this idea. I didn't suggest it. I'm part of it because they asked me to help them with it, but they, as a group, realized that several of them were, like, not doing as well consistently reading the Bible on a daily basis, and so several of them have come together and, like, have created a group chat to keep each other accountable with that. And, like, I'm supplying them basically topics to read through and texts to read through, but, like, totally them.
I did notice somebody posted on the app that like, hey, if you want to do this, let me know, and that's really cool.
Yeah, like, moments like that make me proud.
Yeah.
And prove that this verse is true.
Well, and I mean, before you got here, I was the one leading the youth, which is why I'm so happy that you're here. But seeing the transition from, because I mean, like, man, the kids that are juniors and seniors now in high school weren't even in high school,
right?
When you and I were making that transition of
when I first got here, like, some have already graduated, that were here when I got here, and several of the ones that were, like, the younger ones in the group are now
the older ones
taking the reins on
that sort of stuff. To see that transition, and honestly, it's been really cool for me as well, just because I've got to see it from the outside looking in now, and to see the job that you're doing with them, and how good of a job you're doing with them, and how much They lean on you and on each other. And that's something that you've instilled in the youth group, is that they do lean on each other.
Well, but I guess, thank you for that. I appreciate the compliment. A youth minister is only as good as the kids in the group. I
agree with that, yeah. A football coach is only as good as his team.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that.
But also a youth group is only as good as the leadership that comes from within the group.
Yeah.
So they, I'm proud of them.
Yes, we have some pretty good leaders in that.
And they take accountability, and they go out of their way to help and things like that. So
kids, if you're listening,
love y'all.
We're proud of you.
Yep.
Yeah, good job.
100%.
All right, so going a little deeper into 3 John, now that we've gotten off track for the
we never do that
80th time. Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's why we were such good friends with Paul.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Very tangenty.
Yes.
Verses 5 through 8 are sort of a chunk. He talks about the fact that there are people who go out for the sake of, he calls it the name of Christ in verse 7, and talks about the fact that people who are devoting their lives to the gospel should be supported. Just in general.
Yeah.
That's a good...
There's literally nothing else better you could do in this life.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so next point.
Well, and honestly, the thing that I take out from that is at the end of verse 8, being fellow workers of the truth.
Yeah.
Because there's one thing to know, accept, understand, and apply the truth, but to be a worker of the truth, trying to spread the truth, I think that's kind of that step up, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's so hard to pull things out of these verses. They're so short.
They are. And they're very straightforward, too.
Right.
Yeah.
The main thing about the rest of it is Diotrephes in verse 9 versus Demetrius in verse 12. Again, this is a straightforward scenario where, John puts forward Diotrephes as example of somebody who he says likes to have preeminence among the brethren,
but
likes to be a big shot. That's not good.
Right.
Don't do that. On the other hand, Demetrius, verse 12, has received a good testimony from everyone and from the truth itself. Be like that guy.
Right. There is, you know how, there are, highlight verses?
Mm-hmm.
Things you would go back into your Bible and highlight.
Right.
The one that would stick out would be 3 John 11. Beloved, do not imitate what is evil, but what is good. And I flipped too many pages.
Smooth. It's easy to do with these two.
Yeah. I ended up in Revelation. He who does good is of God, but he who does evil has not seen God. Not even doesn't know God. He just
there's no familiarity at all.
At all.
There's no relationship. There's no anything.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. That's kind of like the
and that's
hey, hey, do you know so and so? I know of him. No, this guy. If you're doing
not
evil
even known by reputation.
Yeah. You don't even who?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's 2nd and 3 John. Take 3-4 minutes to read both of them.
If it takes that long.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a slow reader. I like to make sure. Well, here's the thing. I'm pretty sure I'm a little dyslexic. Especially with numbers. I'm really bad with numbers.
Isn't there a different term for numbers? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway.
Numerically dyslexic? I don't know. Anyway, so I'm a little slower read. I want to make sure that I didn't mess it up. I want to make sure that I understood what I read. I'm also the kind of person that if I'm reading something, I can stop and go, I have no clue what I just read. And then I have to start over.
That's really easy to do in Paul because you get halfway through a tangent and you have to go back and be like, what's he talking about?
Yeah, because then you start reading his tangent and then you start having your own tangent.
Right.
And then you're like, wait, what? Where did he start with? Yeah. So that's 2nd and 3 John.
Mm-hmm.
Jude.
One more chapter one.
One more
but
chapter one.
There's more in Jude.
Yes.
Jude's sort of a...
It's interesting.
It's interesting.
And then we'll get even more interesting.
Speaking of interesting.
In Revelation.
Oof.
Yeah, that'll be... Yeah, we're going to have to meet a few times before that one.
Probably.
Yeah. But looking forward to it.
Yes, absolutely.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you get to spend some time with family.
Hope you eat stuffing because that's the best Thanksgiving food.
And here's the thing. Again, we're going with the best version of it. The best version of everything is turkey. That's what everything revolves around.
Okay.
If you're taking an average Joe meal...
Here's the thing. I'm
not picking the turkey.
Of all of the debates that we've had, this is one of the ones I'm going to get the least upset about because none of those 6 things are bad.
I agree with that. Especially if you have some gravy and you pour it on all of it.
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
I love how we came back to the thing.
We must be hungry or something.
We just ate.
Well, they didn't need to know that.
All right. It's been a good episode. It's been a short episode, but good nonetheless. And we're looking forward to getting into June. We're looking forward to getting into the topical studies here in 2025, which is going to be
way sooner than it feels, but yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. We'll see you in June.